Hello and welcome to the Neutral Zone, where some of your favorite YouTubers and Spacedock get together to discuss some of the most important issues of the day. This time, it's DragonCon 2018. I'm Larissa from the Templin Institute, and I'm joined by Daniel from Spacedock. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. All good.
Excellent. We've also got Alex from Star Wars Explained. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm still missing DragonCon 2 weeks out now.
Yeah. Is it 2 weeks already?
Yeah, just about.
Oh, boy. And there's also Mark here from the Templin Institute. How are you doing?
I am trying to recover from DragonCon or something else. I don't know what happened, but whatever it did, it got me.
You're just missing Atlanta that much.
No.
Fine.
Well, I mean, you could just say yes and make it sound better, but...
It was hot and there were spiders.
Oh, the Atlanta Tourism
Both
Board
of those
would
things
hate
are
you.
true.
So, Alex, I'm going to start with you. What was your favorite part about DragonCon?
I compete in the Star Wars trivia contest every year, and that's always fun. And this year, I was seated next to an 11-year-old kid named Miles, and I think he was my favorite person at DragonCon. He was hilarious to be next to because he knew his stuff so well. I wanted him to win really, really bad.
Yeah?
But instead you crushed him.
Well, I'm not going to let him win, and I didn't win anyway, so I would say that Zach crushed him mercilessly, and I was just witness to it.
Zach. What was the question that tripped you?
The last question was, what is the name of Jabba's other Twi'lek dancer, the one that wasn't Ula? And now I know that it's Lin Mi. At the time, I didn't know that at all.
So how did Zach win then? Like, how does anyone know that?
His Slumdog Millionaire story / reason for knowing the answer to that was that his dad gave him like a 3-pack action figure set of all of the members of Jabba's, I guess, band, or like the new editions and the special edition, because Lin Mi wasn't in the originals. So he remembers getting that pack from his dad, and that's how he knew it.
See, that's such a niche little thing.
I want to jump in here and say that a Slumdog Millionaire Star Wars parody would be an awesome fan film that I think would actually be really cool.
All right, there's another idea, folks. Write it down.
Also, only in Star Wars do you have an action figure for Dancing Girl 3 or whatever.
Right.
That one day saves the day.
All right, Daniel, since you just spoke up, what was your favorite part of the weekend?
My favorite part, aside from meeting you guys, which was fantastic, was the Expanse fan meetups that we went to, which were really amazing, because it's like DragonCon it's pretty relentless and intense and packed all the time, and it can like get you a bit. And the Expanse fan meetups that we went to were organised by the Expanse Lives fan collective, who we speak to quite often, and it was quite a sort of nice niche small room with 20-30 people, and we got the chance to chat with some people that I've only ever known as usernames before now, and we actually got the chance to give a talk about our work on Force Recon, because the spokespeople were late, which was pretty fantastic. I've never given a talk like that before, and I think it went rather well, and I'm really glad that we stepped up and had that experience while we could, because it was a great little moment.
So how did that even happen?
So we turned up, and there was a bit of panic happening. We spoke to Ed from the Expanse Lives, who explained that somebody's flight had been delayed, and the panel was delayed, and they brought in a moderator to cover things, and they were basically just having cosplayers come up and talk on the podium about how they'd made their costumes and stuff, and they were obviously trying to scramble together some stuff to kill time. So Alistair and I went over and said, hey, we're Spacedock, we work with Ty Frank and the Expanse VFX department to write the backstory for the ships, and we can take questions on that if you need somebody to kill time. And thankfully there were people in the audience who'd heard of us, so it all worked out okay.
Yay! That must be pretty... Were you scared?
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, that was sort of second only to, because earlier on I'd announced myself as Spacedock during the big cast Q&A in the massive Imperial Ballroom or whatever. I asked a question and mentioned that I was Spacedock, and that was on the way out of there. There was a bunch of people waiting to say hello, and that was bizarre because that was the first time I'd ever spoken to fans in person.
That came up naturally, did it? Oh, I'm Spacedock, by the way, everybody. I got Spacedock. I'm Spacedock.
Yeah, it was that, but it was very, very weird and then that we followed that up immediately with the fan meetup with you guys, with the YouTube fan meetup. So it was that was a very intense few hours of suddenly it all becoming very real and talking to all these people in person.
Yeah. So, Mark, it's your turn. What was your favorite part of the weekend?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I'd have to say my favorite part was, and this is going to be a lame answer, but you're going to have to deal with it, was just like being there. Because I haven't traveled that much, and I didn't think I'd get a chance. I mean, it's not like I was expecting to go to Atlanta or even wanting to go to Atlanta. It's like a thing I didn't know I wanted. So to end up in this crazy city and be a part of this like huge spectacle that's DragonCon, like the entire thing was just mind blowing. So I don't know. Is it lame to say my favorite part of DragonCon was DragonCon?
No, I think DragonCon would like hearing that.
It sounds like you're just excited to go outside.
Is that how I'm coming across? There was a sky, a blue sky with this ball of fire.
I was right about to completely back up Mark there, and then you made it sound so sad, Alex.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, like,
but yeah,
so many points during the weekend, I was just like, I can't believe I'm here. Like, this is nuts. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for me because it is literally just down the street for me.
Yeah,
so.
just another week in the life of Star Wars Explained, I guess. Not a big deal, but.
But that's actually, for me, it's the first time I've ever really traveled of my own volition properly. Like, it's the first time I've, as an adult, planned a trip and booked a flight and gone somewhere completely of my own accord. I've sort of never done anything like that before, and I immediately want to travel more and I've sent out far more applications for press passes at cons and stuff, and I kind of feel a lot more liberated to do stuff like that than I did previously. I think I'm very glad to have gone to DragonCon because I think it's going to kick off some more active kind of interaction with cons and travel for me.
Yeah, I am right there with you. So, Larissa, what was your favorite part?
See, I normally hate this question, but I think I have an answer for it, which is looking at all of the amazing cosplay that's out there. There's some truly amazing artistry that goes into these costumes that I was just blown away by. I've been to a couple of conventions before, but they didn't have anywhere near as many cosplayers in those conventions as what we saw in Atlanta. And it was every hotel was just full of these huge, intricate, well-crafted, well-painted costumes. It was really something to look at.
Well, you were doing some cosplay too, right?
Yeah, I did a Lara Croft, a mid-game Lara Croft, where she's a little bit roughed up, but not bloody. Which, you know, comparing it to some of the actual cosplayers that we saw there, I was like, oh, this is like the equivalent of me wearing mom's makeup.
Well, I mean, you got requests for photos, right? So that has to count for something.
Well, like maybe 2, but
okay, I was trying to throw you a bone there, but you know, whatever.
Well, you did the awesome steampunk costume.
That's
on
true.
Third day.
Yeah, I mean, I do the steampunk generic thing fairly frequently, and it's, you know, it's
That's
less
just like
special
your Sunday outfit.
Yeah.
What I
want to know is how the hell anybody actually does this stuff, because like based on our experience of the con, like getting around the place and how busy it is and taxis and all this nonsense, like what are these people with like folding ceramic wings and stuff? How do they function at all in that place? Like
that's why they got handlers.
That's why they got working cell phones.
Oh.
Also, they just stay. They stay at the hotels.
There's a veiled mockery happening here.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call it veiled.
I would frequently see like people checking out of the hotel on the last day with like the luggage carts just packed to the top full of Tupperware boxes, which you could tell are just full of costume parts.
Yeah.
Well, see, I want to stay at the hotel next year, but Alex, you're saying that's like a bad move?
No, staying at the hotel's amazing.
I knew it.
But it
what
also
about the
takes
Marriott?
like 45 minutes to take an elevator or something.
Oh, the Marriott specifically. I mean, yeah, it's rough to get in and out of your room just because everyone wants to get on those elevators and go up to their room. But staying at a hotel, even the Marriott, is going to be better than staying off site.
Yeah. Plus, those hotel lobbies look really pretty.
They were
Especially
awesome.
like if you take the elevator all the way up to the top floor and then look at all the tiny people below you.
And just scowl. They
Well-
sicken me.
Well, you're the only one scowling here, buddy.
What? You baited me into that.
I absolutely did. So, Alex, I heard that you were on quite a few panels this year. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, Thursday. Now we're 2 weeks out, and I have to remember everything I did.
I can hear the excitement in your
Thursday-
voice.
It's very late right now, and even later for Spacedock.
Yeah, very early.
I shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't be complaining. Thursday was the new canon panel, so we were talking about all the books and the comics and Star Wars, basically anything that wasn't a movie in the past year. And then, no, I'm sorry, that was Friday. Saturday was the episode 9 speculation panel.
Get it together, man.
I'm working real hard. Saturday was the episode 9 speculation panel that Molly and I did together. That was Molly's first panel. That one was a lot of fun because it's like, we don't know much of anything about the movie, so say whatever you want. And no one can tell you you're wrong. And then Sunday was the trivia panel. And, shoot, I did another one. From a certain point of view. So we specifically talked about that one book that came out last October. And then Monday I did a panel on droid sentience. So yeah, we had
Monday.
a full schedule. Yeah, on a Monday afternoon.
Can I ask you about the episode 9 speculation thing? Like, that's one
Sure.
I wanted to attend, but were we busy or did we just not care? I don't know what happened, but we missed it. So can you give me, like, the bullet points, 20 seconds, what's going to happen in episode 9?
Let's see. Rey and Kylo might get together, or they might not. We yelled about that for a little while. Kylo might be redeemed, or he might not be. We yelled about that for a while.
I'm sensing a pattern.
Yeah, no one really agreed on anything, so we just yelled at each other and laughed.
I
It was
feel
a
like I
good
could have been on
time.
that panel.
Yeah, it was easy.
God damn it. Okay, next time. Episode 10, speculation, with the Templin
Yeah.
Institute.
Will it happen?
Who knows? Now, droid sentience on a Monday. That sounds like it was hard.
It was kind of heavy, and it was the first time I got to moderate a panel, so that was fun. But yeah, after a whole weekend of partying, having to wake up, get the car packed, go out, do a panel on like ethics on whether or not droids are basically people. Do droids have souls? What is sentience? Like all this stuff. But we had an actual rocket scientist on the panel and someone who like actually knows robotics and thinks about this stuff for real. So it was like 5 Star Wars nerds that are just talking about space fantasy, and then 2 people that actually were experts on the subject matter.
That actually sounds like a really good time.
It was fun. I was happy with how it went, and I was surprised at the turnout being on a Monday and all.
Yeah, because that's like the dead day, right?
Yeah, I mean, most people, even we, like, that was the latest I have ever stayed on a Monday. We usually just roll out of bed and check out. But I was surprised at how many people were still, like, refusing to let go. I don't blame them.
Now, you also mentioned that it was Molly's first panel on Saturday. Since she's not here, you mind passing on her story?
She did well, I think. She actually edited a video for that panel. So, like, just a highlights from episodes 7 and 8. And kind of just to hype up the crowd a little bit. And that got rousing applause. So I was super proud about that. And I thought she did very well. I mean, it's weird that we can sit down and we can shoot a video for 400-something thousand people and not really think anything of it. But the second you sit us down in a room of 200 or 300 people, we're like, oh my God, this is live. Don't say anything stupid. We can't edit it now.
Yeah, pressure's on.
But she did well.
Well, now I'm nervous because we're going to try to get a panel next year, so... Oh my God.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I don't know about me.
What kind of track would you want to do a panel in? would you like do Star Trek or just American sci-fi, something general, or would you go specific?
I'd take anything they'd give us. I don't know, like that DragonCon is so huge. Like I didn't even know there were tracks. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they could find something for us. But I'd be willing to talk about anything. Whether I have anything interesting to say is a different issue.
Yeah, I think you guys could do well in any of the specific, like Star Trek or Star Wars or any of those kind of really honed in sci-fi tracks, or they have a few that are more generic sci-fi stuff that I think you could fit in all of those.
I'll tell him you said that.
Yeah, there was a military science fiction track, wasn't there? Which
Yep.
we went to briefly.
Yeah, I was really excited because like Babylon 5 is mentioned there, and I was like, yeah, I love B5. I'm so ready to sit in this panel, and then the panel wasn't what I was expecting it was going to be,
No.
but, you know, it just put a lot of ideas into my head of, like, what I want my dream panel to be.
I'd love to do a B5 panel. That would be fantastic.
Yes, or maybe a B5 neutral zone. Ooh.
Oh, let's make it happen.
That's the thing about DragonCon is, like, if there is one person out there that's into it, they're probably at DragonCon looking for other people that are into it. So,
So, Mark, you dragged us to a pretty cool little event on, I think it was Sunday night.
Why do I gotta phrase it like that? I dragged you to it? I thought we were all very willing. But
Well,
whatever.
we were very willing, but it's, you know, you were the spearhead of this
I
operation.
was the spear point of it. Okay, so I don't know what it was called, but you know what it's called. What was it called?
The National Security Decision-Making Game.
Yeah, it was awesome. I guess technically, you would call this LARPing, in that it was like a live-action role-playing game, but it wasn't lame. It was super cool. Basically, there's different scenarios that are based around running a country.
To any LARPers in the audience, I apologize for the poorly disguised mockery there.
Oh, whatever. I'm sure they're used to it. So
Oh, very good.
we were doing the Cold War scenario. So there was, I think, about 50 players, 25 aside, 25 on the Americans, 25 on the Soviets, and you were all assigned roles within the country. And this is where things went really awesome for me, because I was determined to be on the Soviet side. And not only was I on the Soviet side, I was given the role of the General Secretary of the Soviet Union. I was Khrushchev, and that was amazing.
Nerd!
Oh, whatever. You were the ambassador to Europe, and you didn't know about anything in Europe, is how I remember things turning out.
I was miserable at that game. I had a lot of fun, but I sucked.
Well, like,
I have to say, I'm so glad I did that, because I was like, it was up in the air whether I was going to do that or not until the last second, and then I was like, whatever, let's give it a go, and I'm so happy that I did, because it was great fun.
what
Really was
role were
super
you
interesting.
assigned?
Is this me?
Yeah.
I was the commander of the eastern front of the Russian military.
Oh, yeah, okay, so, like, I don't understand how the game worked, only that it did, but the general idea was that you write orders for what you want the country to be doing on, like, these sheets of paper, and then you need to get them signed by enough people to make it happen. And because I was on the Politburo and the head of the Soviet Union, I could make stuff happen pretty quickly. I mean, quickly by the game standards. Like, it still took forever to get anything done. But just, like, the scope of that game is what was so incredible. Like where do you start? Like, as General Secretary, my main goal was to just retain power for as long as I could. So when I heard this guy talking about how he wanted to become General Secretary, I immediately denounced him as a traitor to the rest of the Politburo. We had him transferred to become the Minister of Friendship, so he was on a tour of, like, the Third World, and then we ended up assassinating him towards the end of the game. So, like, you could do anything. That's what was so incredible about it.
Yeah, so Daniel, Alistair did something pretty weird in that game.
Oh, is this his stunning end to the game there?
Yeah,
Which
tell
is
us that story.
The assassination that Mark's just mentioned was not brilliantly executed. The Alistair was the second directorate of the KGB, and he planned to assassinate this person that had been thrown under the bus by Mark and various other people, and decided to do so when he was in a meeting with the R&D people, and do so with some kind of bomb. So we basically killed our entire R&D department. And then I guess Alistair forgot that he'd done that, and then blamed it on China. So then we had a war with China over something we'd done to ourselves 5 minutes ago. So that was an interesting end to the game.
What was so weird about that game, or I guess maybe not weird, but just like the whole point of that game was there were so many people. Like I didn't even realize like where the orders I was sending would end up. Like when we sent the order to kill that guy, I didn't know Alistair was going to end up with it. Like it's just, it was nuts. But my favorite story from the game was at about 2 hours in, I think, halfway of the 4-hour session. I realized that I hadn't talked to Larissa for a long time because she was on the other side of the Iron Curtain. So I didn't even know if she was having a good time. So I came up with this plan where I was going to create a summit with the American president and then use that as a way to get in touch with Larissa and see if she wanted to even stick around for this. But that took like 2 hours in itself. Like we had to organize a secret meeting with the British that got leaked to the press. And then I ended up getting a meeting with the Secretary of State, and I demanded a meeting with the president, but then they told me they couldn't because the president was still being elected. So then the new president gets elected. And so we have this summit finally after hours of planning, and it's me and the head of the KGB and our diplomatic staff. And by this point, I'd kind of forgotten that we put missiles in Cuba. So in my attempt to just make sure that Larissa was having an okay time, we accidentally solved the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Meanwhile, I was running around trying to set up trade deals with like Nicaragua and the Philippines because I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, you did a great job in that summit.
Yeah, I mean, I stood there.
Well, I tried to scam the United States out of 0.5% of the tariffs we were under. I think the American president wanted...
Without knowing what they were or where they came from or what that meant.
I didn't quite realize we were under tariffs until the president said, oh, we can reduce them by 20%. Then I said 50%, and then they said, I think, 30%, and then we eventually agreed on 32.5%, and then the president's like, okay, so we said...
33.3.
Yeah, see, that's what happened, because I pushed for 33 or something, and then you corrected me, and it was a whole diplomatic snafu. But that game was incredible, and I want to do it again next year.
I have to say, it's such a deceptively simple system that it's just like people coming up with plans and submitting them through these moderators and stuff. But like, just the simple like response when you like plan something and put it through, and then you see the result come up on the little news board is so satisfying. And it's like it's such a basic idea for a game that's like extrapolated from this simple point, and it worked brilliantly.
Yeah, I really liked the role playing element of it because on the United States side of it, there was this. The guy who was handed the Dixiecrat role was this big black gay man. And he was like, you know, super, super liberal. And the whole time he was like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but no. Like, no, we're not raising taxes. No, we're not protecting the black voters. And the guy who was handed the polar opposite to the Dixiecrats, I can't remember their name right now, he was a staunch Republican. So they were both arguing each other's points of view to each other. It was really hilarious. And every once in a while they'd check out and go, I can't believe I'm saying this.
There are so many stories like that I just didn't find out about until afterwards. Like there's just too many people. I don't think I spoke to everyone on my own team during that game.
No, you absolutely
it was huge.
didn't. Yeah, it was really great. Okay, question for everyone. Jump in when you've got an answer. What was the favorite cosplay that you found over the course
Battle
of
of St. Louis. Oh, sorry.
The battle, like, as a cosplay?
No, I thought you were going to ask a different question. I wanted to get the jump on it.
I was like, how did that look?
Okay, no, favorite cosplay.
I have to say, like, mine is kind of for an interesting reason because Alex, you shared on Twitter the video or my comments on your cosplay video from a year ago, like exactly a year ago, where I was complimenting a Satil Shan cosplay from last year's DragonCon, and we met the same person in the same costume.
Oh yeah.
At this DragonCon, and like it was amazing that you'd reminded me of that the day before because I wouldn't have realized otherwise, and it was a fantastic costume.
I'm trying to remember everything we saw. Oh, I know. At that same meetup, it was like the big Star Wars photo shoot. Someone was there as Dirge from the original animated Clone Wars series, like the 2D series. And I just was blown away because that's not an easy costume to do, first of all. The guy was like massive, must have been, I don't know, felt like he was almost 7 feet tall. He wasn't. He was probably like a little above 6, but he looked so good. And that's just not a costume you see a lot. So anything like that is new, that people don't do all the time, I'm always excited to see that kind of stuff.
Well, I got two answers if I'm allowed to get away with that.
All right.
Typical.
Go for it.
All right, so like both of my answers, like I wasn't super impressed with the cosplay itself, but more like what it meant. So there's like an intriguing thing, right? Okay, so the first was, I saw a stormtrooper dressed up, but his armor was painted in this really weird pattern. That at the time I was just like, oh, okay, he's like a weird looking stormtrooper. But I later found out, and I think Alex, you told me this, that the pattern he was dressed up as was the original carpet used in the Marriott. That's become it's like a DragonCon phenomenon.
Yes, that's true. The carpet in the Marriott used to be like this blue and yellow and red. I don't even know how to describe it.
An eyesore.
Just like, yeah, like this crazy just hotel carpet. And then one year some people made army suits out of that design. So they were camouflaged for DragonCon. And then once that happened, people just fell in love with that design and started making costumes using it. And then the Marriott changed their carpet and everyone revolted. So like now people even bought squares of the carpet. We own a square from that old carpet.
Oh, of course you
and
do.
It's just sitting in our house now. But yeah, that carpet is well loved in the DragonCon community.
Well, yeah, like that blew my mind. Because, I mean, the other one that I really liked was someone dressed, or actually it was two people dressed up as the Atlanta, like, bus, I guess, like public transit.
Oh, Marta?
Yeah, sure. And what they would do is whenever people were taking photos of, like, really impressive looking cosplay, they drive through the photo and ruin it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so...
have you heard about why?
Oh, is there another story? All right, shoot.
That's like that's an Atlanta-centric story. I think, they were imploding something. Maybe the old stadium. I can't remember what was being imploded, but there was like a live stream of it online, and a MARTA bus drove right in front of the camera and just sat there for the whole thing and then drove away. So that has become a thing where people will Photoshop that MARTA bus into other pictures. And I wish I had seen that cosplay because that's really funny.
Well, you can if you go to Instagram.com/Templin Institute. You know, am I allowed to plug?
Well done. Done.
Come on, that was good. But yeah,
I'm impressed.
My point was, like, it just blew my mind that people like did DragonCon specific cosplay. Like that was super, like, I mean, it's like a whole thing. Like it's not just a convention.
Yeah, it's like one giant joke that everybody mostly is in on. Yeah, well, I'm excited to be on the inside of these jokes next year.
Yeah, I finally got the bus.
I'm looking up the bus now. I gotta see it.
Actually, you know what? I don't even know if I posted it to our Instagram yet.
You didn't. You didn't.
God damn it.
You liar.
Are you sure?
What a bad plug.
I think.
Well, I don't know. You have like a bunch of albums in here.
Yeah, you haven't checked all of them, I bet. The point is, maybe it's on Instagram.com/Templin Institute.
So, Daniel, what are you looking forward to next year for DragonCon?
Honestly, just knowing what to expect and having more of a plan. I think that the whole sort of like staying out of the city somewhere else thing is not hugely doable. I think just like I want to be able to enjoy it a bit more easily, have a more organized plan. Be able to call people would be nice.
Yeah.
So I will approach it with a more organized plan next time.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea.
And doing panels, which we might have the chance to do, like panels that we don't have to hijack from people who are late. That'd be nice.
Yeah, being able to sit down behind a microphone and talk. That's I can
only imagine.
Completely new experience for all of us.
Yeah, we've never done that before. Oh, I forgot that I wanted to ask this question earlier. Alex, you got to interview a couple people, right?
Yeah, I got to interview Timothy Zahn and Henry Gilroy.
What was that like?
Awesome. I mean, not to, toot my own horn, but it was my second time interviewing Timothy Zahn.
Oh, wow.
I got to do that last year as well. But he is just the coolest. Like, everyone in the Star Wars community respects him because he's basically like the father of the EU. And so you talk to him, and then like when you're done with all your questions and you're packing up your gear, he just stays and he keeps talking to you about Star Wars. And then we wound up talking both last year and this year for like an extra 10 minutes. And at the end of it, he was like, "Oh, I have to go, but I'm really sorry I was talking your ear off about Star Wars." And I'm like, Tim, it's no problem.
He's
like
Tim
I
now.
could have left at any time. Yeah,
First
come on,
name
Tim.
basis.
We're old friends.
That's great though. It's amazing that he's like so grounded, because oftentimes you'll like you'll assume that these people like you want to kind of wrap up and you feel like you're bothering them or wasting their time, and it's kind of like the attitude that automatically comes with talking to somebody who is like a big figure like that, and to have them sort of like to have to apologize for talking your ear off about Star Wars. It's Timothy Zahn. Like that's a crazy thing to happen.
Right. He's so cool and just loves... You can tell how passionate he is about his characters and also Star Wars in general. Like, he is genuinely invested in the new stories that are happening now. And what I love is that he is just so clearly a planner. Like, he watches Star Wars Rebels and then he's like, "Oh, I have an idea for where this could go." And I don't know if I'll ever be asked to write this story because it's like Dave Filoni's characters, so he gets first crack, but if they don't have any plans, then maybe they'll let me do it. So he has, I assume, just like folders and folders worth of ideas that he has and wants to explore, which is awesome. And then Henry Gilroy, he wrote and produced the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. This was my first time getting to talk to him, and he was also super nice, talked with me for like half an hour, and he was dropping like bombshells in some of his panels, so I was glad that I got to talk to him about some of those, were just things that I never had considered before, and that I don't know, it was not something that I was expecting to hear at DragonCon, because usually it's just more speculative talk, but to have a creator come in and give some like crazy answers to our questions is something different for DragonCon, because it's not like San Diego where people come to reveal things. It's more just a place to talk and interact as fans, so that was really fun.
I would love it if in one of these interviews, like, you're interviewing some guy who's like really involved in writing Star Wars and you find out that he just hates it. It's like, "Oh, you want to talk to me about Star Wars? Fine."
I feel like that would be a horrible experience.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting. It'd be a good story.
All right.
Well, fine. I thought it was funny.
Just to spin off from Alex's point, the comparing it to San Diego and all that, the one thing that I mentioned a few times while we were there is I'm super appreciative of how kind of different DragonCon is, certainly to British conventions and many conventions that I've been to, in that it's not just a big merch hall. Like it's a genuine sort of varied place to interact with fans, and it's kind of like designed for you to meet and chat with people and provide sort of different opportunities and experiences for different kinds of people who are going. And it doesn't feel like just a giant exercise in queuing and spending loads of money on tat, which is like the experience at a lot of British conventions, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely something for everyone on DragonCon. Like, when I first downloaded the app that had the schedule in it, I was going through and I was like favoriting all the things that interested me, and by the end of it, I had this huge schedule that was impossible to fulfill.
I remember seeing your schedule and being like, "Oh my God, Larissa."
I needed a time turner really badly in order to go to every single panel that I was interested in. So I had to like...
I made that joke, and then I realized that literally everyone in the entire convention had made the same joke.
It was
Yeah.
on the pamphlet.
Yeah, it wasn't... I can't claim credit for that.
Well, someone told me that DragonCon has soul, and like I didn't quite understand what they meant until, you know, I got to see it for myself. But like, what stood out for me is you could just like, I remember I went walking just trying to find a place that was kind of quiet so I could just check my phone, and I ended up in the Marvel cosplay photo shoot. That was this huge thing. Like, you walk off in a random direction, and no matter where you go, you're going to find something amazing, and that was just awesome.
Yeah, it's like it's massive, and it has all of these huge like stars attending, and it's this one of these biggest conventions in the country or whatever. But it still feels like some kind of like small town indie convention. Like it doesn't have any of that kind of sort of corporate veneer of like a MCM or whatever, where it's like you're being funneled into like the places where they can get your money and stuff. It was it felt like a university science fiction society or a laid back kind of kind of community event, and despite being enormous, and that's a really awesome thing for it to have maintained.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, DragonCon was, I think, my first convention ever. So it's very unique in many ways. Like, I'll go to other cons, and then when they end at 7, it's like, okay, we're closed, get out. But I was like, aren't we going to keep going? Because at DragonCon, it goes until 6 a.m., and there's raves and parties, and, like, you can go as long as you want. So it's unique in so many ways, and it's, yeah, definitely very socially oriented.
Yeah, I also noticed there were a whole lot of like speed dating and like dating get-together type activities for people as well, which is just I don't think I've seen that before at a convention, which was pretty cool.
I didn't notice that. That's
Yeah.
like an awesome little variation.
Yeah, something for everybody.
Maybe next year I will finally find true love.
Maybe.
Mrs. Templin?
Yeah. Okay, so Mark, what are you looking forward to for next year?
Well, I'd really like to be on a panel. Because, I mean, the idea that someone would go to a room just to hear me talk is terrifying, but incredibly exciting. Yeah, so, like, that's what
Best
maybe I'm most...
combination.
Yeah, but also, like, I just want to be back there. Like, it was... Like Dan said, it's overwhelming, and going into it not knowing what was going to be like, it can be... Like, it wasn't all, like, sunshine and rainbows. Like, there were some times when it was like, okay, I need to get out of here. But, like, knowing what to expect, like, I could do better. I know I can do better.
Yeah. Well, I think the part that... Oh, no. Alex, what are you looking forward to?
I mean, the same thing. Like, you guys, if you do wind up coming back, which I hope you do, it's just every year gets better. Like, you'll know more what you're doing, like you're all saying. And I hope we get to do some panels together. That would be super
Yes,
fun.
Well,
I'd
I'll
be
see if I got
super
time.
down for that. Oh, come on.
Alex, you gotta temper your expectations here. We're a pretty big deal.
Okay.
You
All
give the
right.
man a silver play button and you never hear the end of it.
Yeah, I hope I do some panels with Larissa and Daniel. And I hope Mark is sitting in the audience crying the whole time.
Hey,
Ooh, savage.
But yeah, having you guys on site also, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
And
we can party
I-
it up.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to finally winning the Star Wars trivia contest. I'll say that.
Yeah, you better start studying up. Like, get into the
I-
really obscure stuff.
That's literally every day of my life, and I still can't
yeah,
win.
who do you think you're talking to, Larissa? Do you think he's just been focusing on like the movies and ignoring everything else?
Well,
I'm way
obviously,
too
right?
casual.
Yeah, you filthy casual.
Do you know there's TV shows in Star Wars there, Alex?
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god. He's such a pleb. Yeah, I would also say that I'm looking forward to doing some panels next year. Been thinking about like what I could do for panels, and I'm really looking forward to doing the research on those. And I think I also want to do something a little bigger and better for a cosplay next year, but I haven't even gotten the idea for what it's going to be yet. So I don't know. We'll find out.
Can I just say that you looking forward to doing the research is such a Larissa answer?
Well, I'm thinking about doing a panel on building magic systems, and I need to do a lot more research in order for me to be able to confidently speak about it.
Sod that bit afterwards where we go to the con. It's all about the spreadsheet.
Yeah! I want the data. I want the data points. I want the corresponding files, and I want it color-coded.
Then I shall have the perfect schedule.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I want. So I think that
Night.
closes us out for the night here. So thank you all very much for joining me for this little post-DragonCon talk.
It was my pleasure.
No problem.
Yes, I'm glad I was here.
So why don't you guys go around and quickly say where everybody can find you guys in case they don't know who you are.
What do you mean? Of course they know who I am. You can find me on the internet. Search for Spacedock.
All right, then. I guess we'll just throw links down in the description, and that'll be easier.
Yeah, like I kind of assume people already know who we are.
Everybody on this channel knows who we are.
Yeah. All right, fine.
Wait, we're not going to go around anymore? Spacedock makes fun of it, and then it's over?
Well, You can talk if you want to.
You can, God damn it, it's been ruined.
Okay, that's it, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you all very much for joining us. And,
YouTube.com/the Templin Institute. Fuck you.
And we don't know when we'll be back for another Neutral Zone, but stay subscribed, click the bell, just in case we drop another one unexpectedly.
Oh, you're gonna tell them to click the bell?
I'm gonna tell them to click
ring
the
that
bell.
bell.
How low are we going on this?
Smash that like button, y'all.
Yeah, do we want them to hit the like button or do we want them to smash the like button?
Welcome,
That's-
Smash
Neutral
the
Zone
like button,
Nation.
click the links in the doobly-doo, and we'll see y'all later.